Hey comrades, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Obnoxious Anarchist. What is up with y'all? For this video, I do want to talk about the drama that's going on in the vegan community concerning mostly white vegans. And the problem is an old problem, and it's obviously a contemporary problem, and it's a problem that will last into the future, and it's of vegans using certain terminology to advocate for veganism. And some of the main ones obviously are comparing it to comparing the situation of what's happening to animals now in our society, slaughterhouses and all this stuff, comparing it directly to chattel slavery, or maybe trying to downplay chattel slavery in an attempt to make people understand how bad animal fucking agriculture is. They'll also use terms like rape. I'm of the opinion that, look, if you're part of the black community, the African American community, and you're vegan and you want to make comparisons to slavery, that's fine, because you can better speak to your community in that way. Me as a white person saying that kind of stuff, it's like it's as if I'm not taking into consideration the pain and suffering that they went through. And anyways, we'll continue. So rape, slavery, even with rape, somebody who's been raped, I think that they can go around and say, you know what, I've experienced rape, and I think that what's happening to these animals is like rape. You know what I mean? Whereas for me, who's never been raped, and I'm a man, men do 90% of the fucking raping, it would be useless for me to try to talk to a group of feminists and say how, oh, it's rape, without considering their experiences, you know what I mean? So I think that white vegans specifically really need to learn on their advocacy and stuff like that. Now, that being said, the terms slavery and rape, maybe they can be used to describe what's going on in the animal world for certain people at certain times, but the one that I think that we should just keep out of our mouths altogether is animal holocaust. We absolutely need to stop calling this an animal holocaust, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But just for a little bit of backstory here, this drama for sure has been going on for years and years and years and years, but it's just recently picked up the past couple of weeks in especially in Montreal, and and on the online sphere and stuff like that. And everybody, they're talking about how they need to call it the Holocaust so that people will understand how bad it really is and stuff like that. But there's two problems with that. One, you're not going to make people understand how bad it is by saying that. And two, it's not the Holocaust. It is not the Holocaust. And all of this stuff was going on just around January 27th, which is Holocaust Memorial Day. And none of these white vegans were talking about, paying homage to the fallen people of the Nazi Holocaust. No. They're just more interested in talking about, using edgy words to try to advocate for veganism and stuff like that. And the problem with that is that you're gonna have some serious problems in terms of coalition building and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, it's not gonna be animals that are gonna help you stop animal agriculture. It's other humans. First, we need to learn how to bridge those gaps between other people, especially if you're white. As a white person, calling, talking to black people and saying things like, oh, you shouldn't worry about what happened to your ancestors because every day there's an animal holocaust that's 10 times worse. Come on, there are different ways to advocate for veganism rather than straight up calling it a fucking holocaust. You know what I mean? It's not a holocaust. The word holocaust, here, look, we can check it out here. Oh, I put Memorial Day. So the Holocaust, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, is the systematic state-sponsored killing of 6 million Jewish men, women, children, and millions of others by Nazi Germany. So when we're talking specifically about the Judicide that happened in Nazi Germany, this is called the Holocaust. Whenever we're talking about, other victims in Nazi Germany, so we're talking about homosexuals, socialists, Slavs, of course. When we're talking about the wholesale murder of everybody by Nazi Germany, this is what's usually called the Holocaust. And you have a lot of people in the vegan community who try to say that, like, no, a Holocaust, it's just for any mass murder, mass killing and stuff like that. They try to call the Armenian genocide, which is a genocide, I will never deny that, but it was not called the Holocaust. I think I heard it called the Holocaust in one New York Times article as I was doing my research. So no, what's going on to the animals is not a Holocaust. Now, if you want to make certain comparisons, if you want to say things like, yo, animals are mass murdered in gas chambers, they are. It's very simple. You can just say that. You mean the Shoah. It's either known as here, like as it's called Hebrew, Shoah is known as the catastrophe, or Herban, but the word itself, Holocaust, obviously is a Greek term. Holocaust comes from a Greek term, but the root of that Greek term comes from a Hebrew term called Olah, or something like that, O-L-A-H, and that means specifically to have sacrificed something to the gods by burning it whole. So I mean, like, this is a very different thing than what's happening to the animals in the cages of the contemporary slaughterhouses. There's no doubt about it. So I think that vegans just really need to take a moment and learn who they're talking to. Who exactly am I talking to? Where is my advocacy being projected towards? You know what I mean? If I'm talking to a bunch of Jewish non-vegans, I'm not going to start comparing it to the Holocaust. Well, personally, I just don't compare it to the Holocaust because it's not correct. It's not the Holocaust. It's not an animal Holocaust. It's none of that. The Holocaust is a specific genocide that happened in Nazi Germany, so white vegans, keep that shit out of your fucking mouth. It's pretty simple. For me, anyway. And this is a lot of the reason why people end up hating white vegans specifically, is because y'all have no idea how to fucking talk to people. You have no idea how to advocate for the things that you want in a way that could actually resonate with people, so that people can start to think about it and shit like that. And you're not gonna be the savior of all the animals. It's not gonna be you. We talk to people talk to their communities, people change their own communities. It's not gonna be you that's gonna go out and change the world. A lot of these white vegans have a fucking messiah complex. They seriously have a god complex and shit like that. So anyway, I'm pretty passionate about that. I really don't think it should be called Holocaust. I mean, like, in terms of rape and stuff like that, like, you can call it rape in that, okay, the female cows are forcibly inseminated, and at the end of the day, it is for someone's pleasure. But it's not somebody's, like, sexual pleasure, although there are some very weird stories about people who have to constantly jerk off cows and stuff like that to get the semen so that they can breed more cattle. To get the fucking cows off, they have to start doing some really weird shit, and in some cases, bro, especially with pigs and stuff, they gotta do some fucking weird shit to the pigs. That's definitely rape. These animals don't want to be touched. They don't want to be touched. It's non-consensual, forced insemination. Me, as somebody who's never been raped, I'm not gonna go around saying how it's rape, because that's triggering for people who have been raped. You know what I mean? And like, yes, speciesism is very big. Speciesism has existed for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it is fucking worldwide. So a lot of vegans will say that it's speciesist to not call it a Holocaust. And I think it's the complete opposite, the total misunderstanding. I think it is speciesist to call it the Holocaust, because what's happening to animals is not what happened to Jewish people in the 30s in Nazi Germany. They're separate things. You know, chattel slavery and rape is not the same thing as systematically chopping up animals and eating them. The relationship between human and humans, even if it's in a genocidal context, is different than the relationship from humans and animals who are being used as products for food. So why not just call it something else? Because it is something else. Whenever there were genocides in the world, like, this was for like mass, fast, ethnic cleansing. It wasn't so that they could be bred for their fucking, for their meat. These are two completely different things. Let's just start calling things what they are. That's just my opinion. And like, yes, so even though there are differences, like major stark differences and stuff like that, there are ways that you can make slight comparisons, because at the end of the day, like, the certain comparisons can be made just by virtue that there involves a victim and that there involves some kind of social oppression. So that when we're talking to people, yeah, you take into consideration exactly who you're talking to, and try not to alienate and isolate people. Like I said before, we need other people to end animal cruelty. Animals are our comrades, but the problem is that they can't really do much. They're in a situation where they're completely disabled by the infrastructure of factory farms. Stop it. I've even heard people comparing it to shit like lynchings and stuff like that. You know, it's like, come on, come on. Yeah, so y'all, yeah, Deadman Animations for sure. I'm gonna try to get talk to him a little bit more and stuff like that, because I would love to do a stream, like a panel about veganism and communism and shit like that. It's super important, because a lot of the fucking content creation on YouTube concerning veganism, it just seems very, like, I don't know, either apolitical or or like straight up just like capitalist type shit. But you should all check out Happy Black Legends. Yeah, I've checked out like a few of her videos and shit, and like, yeah, it's great stuff. One of the main fucking things in any kind of movement building, whether it's communism or socialism or anarchism, any kind of movement building, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, is you need to learn how to coalition build. First, you need to learn who can you coalition build with. You know, because nowadays we have, even in the leftist spheres, we have a lot of morons who think that they can coalition build with Boogaloo Boys because we have a common enemy in the United States bourgeois state. But let's not be deceived over here, is that coalition building is not somebody who just has a similar, you know, path that you want to take. They have to have similar end goals, and if they don't have similar end goals, then you can't coalition build with them. Anyways, vegans need to do that. Need to do that, and like, I think like a lot of people are sympathetic to the vegan cause, because a lot of people understand that, you know, the way, at least they understand that the way that we kill animals is wrong, and it needs to be changed. So if the sentiment is there inside of the people, you know, it's just a little bit of deprogramming, it's just a little bit of like good advocacy and stuff like that, and of course, direct action. If you want to be vegan, do direct actions. We have to understand that, like, whenever you're getting into something like socialism, anarchism, anything, even veganism and stuff like that, you're gonna start to feel a sense of social dissonance. You're gonna start to feel separate a lot from society and stuff like that. And obviously that liminal stage can be very dangerous, because people are emotional and stuff like that. But that's why it's up to us as anarchists and socialists and stuff like that to make sure that our communities have proper conflict management systems in place and stuff like that. Moderators, actual moderators who are willing to talk to people and shit. Jimmy Whisper says, I'm alright for an anarchist. Thanks. I try my best, I try my best.